Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's nice when I get to work early. That's why people show up to work early, I guess. It's just less... Because if you show up late, all day long you're trying to get caught up, and you never do. It's crazy. If your job is boring, I suggest you show up late, because it won't be. There'll be 50 gazillion things to do all day. But it's Mike Matthews here on
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Live from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
At the last place on earth, today is episode I don't remember, because I'm having an episode where I don't remember things. Oh, it's episode 1764, 1764, and something I should say to you before I say any more, and that is a big welcome to the world.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
To CCA, a young boy, well, baby, was just born, and his name is CCA.
Daily
born on 12/12.
Podcast.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah!
So, congratulations out to... I'm not completely... I can't immediately remember his name. I think Clark is involved, and then Clark Kent. No, Clark something. And I'll get it straight at some... This is a brand new person that's brought into our world. And the initials are CCA, so that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Isn't the CCA something like in Canada? Like, don't they interrogate people and then throw them out and put them back in California? They get out of Canada, eh? You're an annoying American.
Take off, you hosers.
Well, I don't think that's appropriate. I think that's actually, you know what? That's kind of rude, is that they would say that, you know.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way.
Look who's here. Hello, Mega Master. It's Madame Rootabega, and I like Canada. There are lots of moose. Ooh. Yes, moose. I have never seen a moose up close, I don't think, ever. Oh, till now. Look who else is here.
Hello, dear Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. Look who just drove into Café Anyway.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Hey, I'm prepared today.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I'm actually prepared. The podcast picture today is of me. Because this show is about me, and it always has.
This show is about me, and it always has been.
And I am making spinach in this episode. Actually, this spinach leaf was so big, I had to take a picture of it. And I was boiling down some spinach. I was putting it in a spaghetti sauce. Yes, spinach in the spaghetti sauce. I figure, you know what? There's a lot of canned products in here. The canned tomatoes. I know I don't make it the perfect Italiano style. But it was just... It was a good what I made, and I put a lot of spinach in it to give it a lot of nutritional value. Don Meacham. Did you see a lot of Don Meacham? Do you even know who Don Meacham is? He was the George H.W. Bush historian. He looks to me a little like Brian Unger. Who's Brian Unger? He used to be on The Daily Show, and then he had that show that's on Netflix called How the States Got Their Shapes. And he's a funny guy. I think he's been on a lot of sitcoms, too. And so Don Meacham, Brian Unger got like the same face, but Don Meacham also appears in all these David Byrne. Is it Byrne? David Byrne? The historian guy. Ken Burns. And all of his historical things, like if you watch the one about the Roosevelts, which is what I was watching exactly a year ago, and that's when my dog was starting to have his leg problems, and I'm watching the whole story about FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he, like, one day was fine running with the kids on their little private island that the rich Roosevelts owned. And by the evening, he couldn't walk. The next morning, he never walked again. What was it? Not tuberculosis. The other thing took over his legs. and it was gone. Oh, so I'm thinking, oh, my dog will never walk again, but he's still walking, so that's good. Good news there. We walked a little bit yesterday along this nice little... this is funny. Last show, I was bashing Fairmont Ridge like crazy. Fairmont Ridge is in Castro Valley. It's this beautiful... It's got a beautiful view. In fact, it would have been great to go there for the sunset last night. So I took Basil the boxer there. We get out of the car. He doesn't want to go. Usually, back in the old days, I'd get out of the car, Fairmont Ridge... He'd immediately walk up to the front gate, and we'd go into the park and walk up the hill. Now he doesn't want anything to do with it. In fact, he was looking at me, let's go back into the car. And this is not something he typically does. We go to a lot of parks, and he's excited, and he gets out, and he can't wait. But he's looking at me, no. He could not wait. He was practically pushing his way back into the car. He doesn't want to have anything to do with Fairmont Ridge. So the bashing of Fairmont Ridge is... justified, because it is just not happening for him. I'll have to go there. Maybe I'll meet up with some friends sometime and just walk up there. It's a beautiful view. I suggest you do it. You will see a lot of dogs, and if you're a dog owner like me and you can't bring your dog there, you'll be sad. But it's a great view. So Basil did get a nice little walk anyway yesterday, Café Anyway, and it was a nice day with my lovely lady friend, except for the crisis that happened earlier in the morning that I think I told you all about, or alluded to. And I think I'm justified in saying that. Now, I had not seen this entire craziness that happened between Trump and Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, but I think I should play a little of it now. It is on YouTube. It was the first thing that popped up in my YouTube feed. Setting the scene, they're sitting in front of the presidential fireplace because it is Christmas. Which, by the way, Trump is no longer doing the big, media Christmas party. Every year, every president would welcome in the media, and they'd have a bunch of, great food, and you could walk from room to room in the White House. And you could eat as much food as you wanted. I mean, it is very elitist. I will say that. I think that even though I don't believe all news is fake news.
You are fake news.
Fake news. Fake news.
But, by the way, Mike Pence looks tiny. He looks like a little man. Or that chair he's sitting in is ginormous. So, throw in the ginormous right here, Mike, later on. Thank you.
Ginormous.
So yeah, he said no more because he hates the media so much. No more free Christmas party for the media. No more Salvation Army band playing in the rotunda and all the journalists walking around. Yeah, that's, you know what? I agree. I think I am, quite frankly, as someone who used to listen to NPR constantly, I still listen to it a lot, but still, I am just appalled at the 2-year-olds they put out there to report. Maybe they're not paying anything, although I was told National Public Radio paid a lot. And they hire these youngins, these youngsters to cover the president and all this stuff. But sometimes they do good reporting. They're talking all about now. They did a great report I heard on the way in about the latest border camps that we've got going on with the young males that have made it to the border and are trying to cross the border, wanting to come into America in the Mexico area, actually along the border with Texas. And they've created these tent cities for them. And there's something like 3,000 kids there. That's wrong. But that's... So, the shouting match yesterday.
We're going to keep it open if we have border security. If we don't have border security, Chuck, we're not going to keep it open.
We are going to have border.
Oh, they're agreeing there.
And it's the same border. You're bragging about what has been done.
By us.
We want to do the same thing we did last year, this year.
That's Chuck Schumer. And Chuck has said, look, Trump, we gave you all this money already, and you've done nothing with it for the border wall.
That's our proposal. If it's good then,
or for the border,
and it's good now, and it won't shut down the government.
Chuck, we can build a much bigger section with more money.
Let's debate in private.
What's interesting about this too is they thought that the cameras were not rolling. Oh, by the way, I don't know if this was something Trump intentionally did, but so if you have a camera angle, if you're anywhere over 40 and you're sitting in front of a camera profile-wise so that your body is your entire body is in the shot, you are not going to look good. If you are facing directly at the camera, you can kind of hide your fat rolls and whatnot, which tend to happen as you get over 40. It's harder and harder to fight those, my friend, just so you know. But so they put poor Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi side shot, and Pence and Trump got to be facing the camera full front on. So they look all thin and fit. And, well, Pelosi doesn't look fat. I would never call a woman fat. But Chuck, woo! Chuck Schumer, Mazel Tov.
Okay, yeah, let's debate in private.
Let's debate in private. So Chuck is even seeing it's getting heated up.
Frankly, a fact, and
we need border security. I think we all agree that we need border security.
Yes,
is that right?
Do.
Good,
we do.
See, we get along.
But earlier, did they get along? Huh.
These are people that were looking to do harm. We need the wall. We need, more important than anything, we need border security, of which the wall is just a piece. But it's important. Chuck, did you want to say something?
Yeah, here's what I want to say. We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall,
Washington
whether it's effective.
He hates the Washington. That's why they're not being invited to the.
Nancy, I'd have it passed in 2 seconds.
So I don't think we should have a debate in front of the press on this. But the fact is, the House Republicans could bring up this bill if they had the votes immediately and set the tone for what you want.
So Nancy said later on that I'm going to get the quote wrong, but my lovely lady friend was telling me this. Nancy Pelosi said, if you're going to be in a tinkle contest with a skunk, don't be surprised when you get peed on or something, like tinkled on. But yeah, so by the way, she has term limited herself. If you've heard about this, I don't know. 4 years is what she's giving herself. 4 years. And that way, the Democrats that want her out, because they fought to get elected, some Democrats did, fought against ridiculous political ads. And can we please, as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, can we please stop the same political ads? Oh, but they work, Mike. You know what? We've got to stop. We've got to call in. I don't know. We've got to ban these somehow. You got to vote with your dollars. You got to vote with your turning the channel. I don't know. But the political ads are ridiculous, especially the ones where they use the same music that or dun 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 dun. They all use the same song, the same music, and they get the same guy. This guy must be making bank.
Chuck Schumer said that he would stop making border wall
cannoli. Why am I thinking of cannolis? What are the things, the little things that are delicious with the, you dip them in the sauce? Loompas? Anyway, the point is that I'm tired of political ads. Anyway, I hope we all are, and we should stop. We should just turn the channel when they come on. I know the whole reason why I have a job is because political ads pay for a lot of airtime on radio. And if you want to put a political ad on my podcast, you are very welcome. I am not that, I am that way. I guess I'm terrible.
That's terrible.
But the point is that I've lost my point and I have to end the show. Oh, but But yeah, Nancy Pelosi is going to term limit herself, and that has placated to the Democrats who have had to fight because all those political ads said Nancy Pelosi wants to steal your children and put your dog in an iron cage. You know, they do the same thing. All these and they all invoked the Nancy Pelosi name over and over again when they were trying to get a conservative voted in. That Democrat that's running loves Nancy Pelosi. And I'll never forget, as I wrap up the show, in Ventura, California, I had a high school friend who was from Irish descent, and I met her father, and her Irish father said, "Oh, Nancy Pelosi should be on one of those buses in Ireland that get blown up." He did not like Nancy Pelosi. That guy had quite an interesting sense of humor. At any rate, that's the show. Nancy Pelosi is still Speaker of the House and will be for the next 4 years. Now, if she gets voted out in 2 years, if the Democrats lose the House and therefore Nancy Pelosi loses her majority role, when they come back, like 2 years later, will she get another 2 years? Are the 4 years in consecutive? I don't know. They didn't know. The news people didn't know. The NPR people, the fake news didn't know. No one knew. So that's the end of the show. Oh, but do listen to the New York Times latest podcast, The Daily, where they discussed the rise of the alt-right and how it got bigger and bigger when Obama got elected. How it actually, between the Clinton years and the George W. Bush years, it went underground, and that nobody really paid much attention to them. And then they found the alt-right, found the internet, and this guy with the FBI, he discovered all this chatter on the internet from the alt-right, and that's when it began to grow, and that's when we hit that absolute peak, sad moment when the girl got killed with the car at the rally in the Charlottesville, and that the whole, how it's hit this horrible apex right now, that whole thing. So check that out. They will explain it much better than I am doing right now. The New York Times, The Daily podcast. Very, very well done. But this podcast, Next show, we'll have the wonderful Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the Engineer. Eat your spinach. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!